Thanks so much. Want to start by a couple of things just to say how grateful I am that you're here today. It's an important election for our country, and I would also say for the world in many respects. With regards to what's taking place, of the overtone of Donald Trump and what we face. And I can tell you this much, when being down on the waterfront the other day with the rest of the Windsorites from Windsor and Essex County, I have never felt more proud that we are the people that are on the front line for our country. And I'm going to get into a couple of issues, but I do want to recognize I have Lisa Gretzky here, MPP. Congratulations on Lisa. I got Councillor McKenzie somewhere. There's Councillor McKenzie. And we've got Emile Nabout and John Dagnolo for Unifor as well, and as well Ray Hashi, and we got Ian Holland as well too, and Jody's Nesbitt as well. And I might be missing a couple others. Sorry, I've been running around hoping that I haven't missed anybody. And also, too, I've been a little bit partial to our Windsor West softball event, and Jeff here as well, too, for the West End is represented strong here. So we want to say thank you. And we have one of my colleagues, Alex. Where's Alex, who will be running Windsor? There he is right there. Alex as well, too. So I want to say thanks to Alex. So a couple of things that I want to touch on that are kind of exciting in some respects. It is, as I said, the challenge with Donald Trump with regards to what's taking place in our community. And I hear it on the doorstep that people do have anxiety about what's taking place now. And at the same time, though, we have an opportunity, and I said this at the congressional breakfast in Washington, D.C. that they had. There was over 300 people there. There were from Democrats to Republicans, and there was a series of different individuals there from non-government agencies and so forth, about 300 people in the room. And I did the classic thing, is I started as a Canadian apologizing, and I apologize, for the Canadian content in Elon Musk. And it went over well, even amongst Republicans got it. And I want to touch on that because what you get when you vote NDP is you get a fighter. And you get a fighter, which is so much needed there. And I can tell you what, on that trip that we went, I'm vice chair of the Interparliamentary Association. Oh, we have a McCurdy in the house. There we go. Sorry. So what you get is a fighter, which is really needed. And it was amazing, though, because despite having 2 spots available to them, the Conservatives didn't send a member. Wow. Didn't send a member when we have our auto industry under siege. When we have our environment under siege, when we have a president that continually repeats the 51st state for ourselves, no Conservative was allowed or wanted to go or even push back against their leader, Pierre Poilievre, to go down to Washington. In fact, in our group, we had a Bloc Québécois member, and we worked as a group going down there to represent Canada, because these are the moments that we have to push back. When we get bumped, we need people to bump back and to be strong. And I'm saying that because there seems to be this myth out there that Conservatives are so-called tough on this, tough on that. Well, I can tell you what they're tough on. They're tough on health care. They're tough on our economy. They're tough on basically taxes that they pass on to you, like the HST and GST. Don't forget that. That's the party that actually borrowed money to bring in the HST on you and your family. And what you get as a New Democrat is what you're going to see. And I want to point to a couple of things, the victories we just got. I just got another letter back from the Competition Bureau. They are looking at our request at how Elon Musk stole the EV money from even the Windsor Assembly Plant and other incentives across our country at the last minute. Absolutely. And we also are going to get an investigation by the Privacy Commissioner on Elon Musk and the Platform X. Because that platform right now, it gathers algorithms. So it's not just about the hate, the bigotry, and all the sexism on that platform. It's also about how it takes that data and it then skews what you see, what you do, and how you are actually influenced. And in the European Union, they got that protection against their Grok empire of artificial intelligence. We're going to fight to get that same protection for Canadians here, or we're taking X down altogether. Oh, there's Julio. And so this election, I know that there's going to be ups and downs. And right now, you know, the Liberals have gone from a leather leader to a new leader. And at the same time, the Conservatives are on their same track as before. And I can tell you, regardless of what took place with their changes, all I've heard in the last year in Ottawa is about austerity. And it's cuts not because they would cut things to make sense on anything. It's because they cut out of ideology. Our health care, our environment, all the things that are important, consumer protection at this point in time. So we have to make sure that this election, we push back against those forces. Because I can tell you right now, especially when we have our situation like Windsor West and other places, we do not want to lose dental care. We do not want to lose pharmacare. And Ford still hasn't signed an agreement. We can actually help people with diabetes right now if the choice was actually made. So this is going to be crucial. And I can remember the days when we started with Jack Layton and others in the past, is that people write us off at the beginning. And that's okay, but this one, once the election happens, it's going to be a fight. And I feel confident in our caucus and members, even like Charlie Angus, who is actually retiring this time, but is still going to fight the fight every single day. So I want to say thank you very much for everything that we're going to go through together. Our community is worth fighting for, it being on the front line. And when they say that you can't get anything done, look at our projects that we got that some people said we never have. The border, for example. I can't tell you, 1998 was the first public meeting at Marlborough Public School with Ron Jones here. Give a round of applause to Ron Jones. He was there as a district fire chief, and John Toffelmeyer, myself, and Gary Smith, and we had about 55 residents out there fighting for Huron Church Road, and that's where we had a resident say, why don't we build our own public crossing? And it wasn't anything else other than that, than tenacity, day in, day out, to make sure we weren't going to get the DRTP. Remember that, the so-called jobs tunnel? And again, corporate interests, being OMERS, a multi-billion-dollar pension fund, wanted to ram a truck route right through the heart of South Windsor. And they tried to divide that by having, the solution of Mattie Ramoon. Remember the Maroon family and their tentacles? Yep, and they still, by the way, have the tentacles in the Liberal Party, because guess who gave them the order in council, which still allows them to do a plaza without the proper consultation that you should have, was Justin Trudeau. And they will not, nobody on the Liberal side will rescind that order in council right now. And so we were going to get a twinning of the Ambassador Bridge, thank you very much. We said no, so they tried to pit the West End versus South Windsor, but you all said no. And we now have the Gordie Howe Bridge, publicly owned, publicly operated, and the first time ever, community benefits for citizens. That's your victory. So I wish I had $1 of community benefits of every politician that tried to claim credit for the Gordie Howe Bridge, because it would go to good use. But that was the people's fight. The other people's fight that don't remember, you have to remember, was on Huron Church Road. Remember when they wanted to give us a crappy cut, basically, expressway? And they also wanted to turn the expressway, because it was two Liberals, provincially, in so-called cabinet. You have to be a cabinet, you have to be at the table. And by the way, what they wanted to do is turn EC Row into a truck route. We fought that off. And I give credit to Eddie Francis and council at that time. We stopped the truck route on EC Row because that was supposed to be dumped on us. And that's a huge victory for our community. Who here wants trucks on EC Row? No. Where they belong is where they're going now, is outside this community, and they're going to go on the new Gordie Howe Bridge. And by the way, they were going to build the bridge without a bike lane. And I want to thank Councillor McKenzie and others who fought that off and made sure that we actually are getting a bike lane. Yeah. And a couple of things I want to say to our Unifor representatives here in the auto industry and also auto workers here. First of all, some politicians like to go around taking credit for investment in jobs related to that sector. I want to say, clear for the record right now, who got those jobs were the women and men at the negotiating table that made that a priority for them and their workers that got the investment opportunity. So thank you to all of our Unifor reps who actually got that. And it's a phony thing to do when you think you can just ride in and say, well, we did it because we were government. I can tell you, I was there at the days when Jim Flaherty said, oh, no, we can't pick and choose losers. He called our auto industry losers. I was there in the day when we had to fight to get the EV incentive on the Windsor-built minivan because it was left off the list. We were giving EV incentives for the Chinese-built Tesla, but we wouldn't for the Windsor minivan. We got that stopped. And we also had investments in the paint shop, and we have investments in the battery plant, all those things. But those are the workers' wins, not the politicians' wins. It's very easy to come in with public money later on as our auto workers negotiated the real jobs for our community. And thank you very much for doing that work every single day. I've got to say a couple words about health care. Just before I wrap up, I know that it's getting hot in here, or I'm getting hot anyway. So but I'm very grateful. But listen, I'm a PSW. I think I'm the only PSW in the House of Commons. We have lots of, there we go, yes. We got lots of lawyers. Yeah. But I can tell you this much. I am so proud of how this community has had to deal, and Lisa Gretzky, with us having to beg for modern health care. No Canadian should have to do that. And that was not the vision of Tommy Douglas, that we would actually have to beg for these types of things that are important. And I can tell you that on the doorstep, I see more stress of that ever before. So I know the Donald Trump and the fight for those things are still out there. The fight for our environment, for Ojibwe Shores, is still out there. That's our human health. Rick knows that as well as everybody else, that there is a connection between our human health and our environment. And I can tell you, people aren't silly about these ideas of certain things that are going to happen. They're going to have to be fought for. In Ojibwe National Urban Park, I can tell you when we had the announcement that came out the other day, the announcement was there. It was always there. But the myth is it's not done. We need legislation to protect it. They have a policy right now, but the federal government, and Kieran worked on this file so much well, that they only have 3% of the land. The rest of it's the City of Windsor land. So when we get Ojibwe National Urban Park, it's going to be equal to Point Pelee. Nothing half-baked, nothing less. We deserve the best thing for our community. Because we paid the price. This area was forested. It was taken down. We went into agriculture. We went into manufacturing. Our ancestors from before, even back, we have First Nations here, and then we have the European settlement that came in. But we created a toxic environment, which sent many of us actually have higher cancer rates, respiratory diseases, all those different things. We paid the price in taxes. We paid the price in environmental health. And those are the reasons why we need proper health care. And I want to say again that this should not be lost, because it's also going to be significant to make sure we do not lose jobs to the United States. Our health care is our first line of defense to making sure we don't lose our jobs. Thank you. Last, thank you to, I got my mom here, and I got my stepmom, I got my family, Terry's here, Alex, Wade's away, all my staff and volunteers that are going to make this campaign solid. We cannot take a single thing for granted. We cannot take it for granted. And we are out already putting up signs, knocking on doors, talking to people. And one of the reasons that's good for us is because we are part of the positive of politics that's under siege right now. And I look around the room here and I see so many different other people that I could recognize. But you're also part of what I believe we have to be a bastion of, is not being on the cruel, vindictive, hate, and social media attacking side that we see others going to. Thank you. I always remember Jack Layton saying, the legacy of Jack Layton. And he always ensured at our caucus meetings that we remember that despite our challenges, we went forth with that vision. So I want to say thank you. We got, 35 days more or something like that. Yep, you're right. I want to say thank you very much for all the donations. We have the big guys against us, but we are smart, we are strong. All the time you put in, whether it's an hour here or more hours later, whatever it might be, whatever you can possibly do. And coming in and being part of the solution. We can't control a lot of other things outside of our area. And I want to say thank you, Alex, for running as part of our local team down here. And more importantly, to all of you, because this is going to be number 9 for me, federally. Woo! Yeah, number 9 federally, and 2 municipally before that. But I want to tell you this much. The challenges and the stakes are high. I want to get back and I want to fight for Canada in Washington because I know that we spent 20-something years of investing me, instead of me going on trips to other places and other groups or organizations, I've been going exclusively to the United States. All that investment in me, I want to get back there so that I can go into Washington and other places I need to do to build the allies so that when the front line right here is defending itself, I've already been out there to at least bring back the intel, the support, and the other things because everybody's looking at us right now. The rest of the world is even looking at us in Canada right now, and we are it. So thank you so much. Appreciate you all. It's going to be a fun adventure. Let's get going.